Hi guys, just me again. I had something in the post today and I'm very excited about it, and I like to do a talk and a bit of review about it. So furthermore, here we go. It's my new airbrush. It's a Badger Renegrade Krome. Another latest airbrush to my arsenal. So what we're going to do in this video, I'm going to have a talk about it in fine detail, about the case, the airbrush, everything else, and I'm going to put through the test compared to my other airbrushes to see how well it copes. And furthermore, let's have a look. Right, first of all, this nice lovely case, I have to say, by Badger. They've outdone themselves for this one. It's one of the nicest cases Badger has ever made, to be perfectly honest. I've had a few Badger airbrushes in my time, and this is one of the nicest cases they've done. The only drawback I've found to this is this label on here, the Renegrade Krome label. I'm pretty sure the proper Renegade series had a nicer label or a nicer case front to it, and this one looks a little bit ordinary. You know, it doesn't take 5 minutes to actually make up a central in template for you to put the label on and stick it smack in the middle to make it look nicer. It looks like they just stuck it on the bottom, and it just, I don't know, just doesn't seem right. Plus the font in as well, I'm not really fussed on it, but obviously we don't airbrush with a bloody case. But I thought they could have made a bit more of an effort on the front of it, to be honest. Lets it down a bit. As for the catch, it's a very, very well made, beautiful catch. I have to say, I haven't seen one of these catches before here, and it clips in really, really nice. So that's our one section. Now let's open it up, and here we go, guys. The Badger Renegrade Krome. Right, I've already had a look at this and sort of played with it. So I know most of the ins and outs. It's an airbrush at the end of the day, so it's not much difference to any other airbrush. But my first impressions of it, really nice. Actually, absolutely really nice. Weighs quite a bit heavier than my other airbrushes. But I'll probably have to get used to that. It's a really nice size colour cup. I've heard reports about some people didn't like the cap for the colour cup. They said it was a bit loose and they preferred like the rubber caps. But actually mine fits lovely. Mine fits easy to take off, easy to put back on. As you can see, it turned upside down, given a good shake, it's not coming off. So unless they fix the problem or somebody just had a bad colour cup, I do not know. The trigger, as you can see, is a slightly different colour to the rest of it. I think I've seen in one review before, they said they've put a new coating on the trigger mechanism. I think it's called glide coat, and what it actually does, it actually gives you a far smoother airbrush motion, rocket motion back and forth. It keeps it far smoother, so that's a quite good thing. So I'm quite pleased with that. Plus obviously I think this is the same with the Renegade series. They've got the finger and thumb rest at the bottom, which is plastic. If you don't like it, guys, you can always take this section off. But personally honest, when I hold it, as you can see, it fits really, really nice. I do like that. The other part I like about this, it's the rear trigger adjustment dial, which basically what this does is when you airbrush in, you can move nice back and forth, nice and back, but you turn this inwards and it stops the trigger from moving backwards and stops more paint coming out. So if you want to keep a consistent line, for argument's sake, if you like a certain thickness of a line, you can adjust this so when you press down for your A, then pull back, it'll only go back as far as you allow it, so you'll keep a constant type of line. Very similar, I would have thought, to something like a single action airbrush, which is quite good, and they've got like good points as well. So that's really nice. I have to say it feels really nice and solid. When I first played with this, I thought, Christ, this is really nice and stiff. A lot stiffer than my Badger Salter 2020. And obviously on further inspection, when I had a look at my Salter 2020, I was actually missing this little rubber O-ring from mine. So obviously I think I got some more O-rings here. I'll have to put one on my Salter 2020 to have a look. But that fits really, really nice. Another cool thing about it, if you're really doing fine detail work with these airbrushes, it's obviously got a little grub screw by here, so obviously you can put it right down to 0 and you can just undo this and you can twist these numbers to the notch on the top. So if you're working in super fine detail, you can actually just turn it to obviously 1, 2, 3 up to 4, and that allows you that micro detail for extra precision work, so you always know where you are at all times with it. So that's a really good bonus. Obviously it's been hollowed out like most airbrushes these days for easy access to the section by here, which is a nice little feature which you can always do this part. Always move it back and forth, and just you can do unblock the needle if you want to. because you're moving this back and forth by here, it's moving the needle back and forth as well. So if you've got any paint blockages, whatever, you can always give that a good jerk a few times, and obviously it should release the any paint blockages there. So that's one good thing about it. Obviously then, it's one little concern I did have with the colour cup, because I did sort of strip it down. There's a really nice deep colour cup which I like, and that was one of the reasons I purchased this airbrush, for the colour cup. So furthermore, let's take the needle out first. Just unscrew this, just undo the screw and just pull the needle out like so. One thing that did concern me, I don't know if they've done it on purpose or it doesn't affect it whatsoever, but I don't know if you can see right down at the bottom, guys, where the needle actually goes to the tip. And obviously what they've done, they've actually machined the threads to obviously screw onto it, but the threads have been machined practically about halfway to 3/4 through the bottom. So you've got actually the type of threads right at the bottom as well. And all my Badger airbrushes I've looked at haven't got that at all. So I don't know if somebody's been a bit accidental and gone a bit too deep, boring out the threads, because my concern is when obviously the needle goes on top, maybe over time the paint underneath, is because it's not smooth, will build up in these thread recesses and can cause the paint needle to stick, and maybe have a bit problems with blockages, etc. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. So if anybody has got one of these Renegade Velocities or Renegade series or Renegrade Krome, have a look at the bottom of your colour cap and see if it's like that, and let me know if it is. Have you had any problems? But yeah, much appreciated if you could. So let's put this back. So I just push it in. As soon as you know, it feels a little bit of tension, that's all you need to do. You don't need to push it in any further because it'll wreck the tip of the needle. And there you go. Really nice. Overall, a really nice whitey airbrush. Another little thing I'm not fussed on, to be honest, is with these rubber caps. I've noticed they've been doing it recently now with all the airbrushes. I presume it's for money reasons, to be honest, but before they all used to come with the metal covers on top of them, which obviously fitted on nice and tidy and just made your airbrush look a hell of a lot nicer. And now for some reason they give you these cheap rubber caps to put on, and to be honest, I don't find it makes the airbrush look that nice. I still prefer the metal ones. I don't know if it's just down to cost issues, or perhaps the caps in the past had a tendency to maybe mark the threads on top, the finger threads, the grips, to wear them away. I do not know, but it probably is down to cost issues. So that's one little gripe I've got. I'm not really fussed or a lover of that, to be honest. Another section is, as you can see, I've already changed this over, is the ultra fine regulator cap, which I am a really big fan of. I'm a huge fan. I've gone on my Salter 2020 and I've noticed like a lot of the cheaper Chinese airbrushes got these days, and I'm a huge fan of ones without any horns out of the protective caps, because obviously when you spray with acrylics you'll have a tendency of a lot of tip drying, which is obviously a build up of paint on your tip of your needle, and it can affect your spray pattern. So and obviously with the horns, sometimes I personally find they just get in the way, my finger's a bit too big or whatever, but I like it without the horns. The ones with the horns obviously protect the needle, so if you're a bit clumsy with your airbrush, you can actually bend the needle, and obviously you have to purchase a new needle. But if you're careful, I personally like them without it, so I changed that over already. So that's one good thing about it. So let's have a look what you get in you with it. I know already when I first opened the box, it already had a fine needle and tip setup, which I think is the 0.23 setup. The reason you can tell this, guys, is obviously this was in the case as it was, and by looking at it, it's got 2 notches on the top of the needle, and that indicates to me that this is a medium setup needle. If it was 3 notches, it would be a thicker needle, which would be the heavier one for Badger, and if it was 1 notch, it would obviously be the fine needle. So as soon as I opened it up and I seen this needle, I knew it was the the 0.23 setup in here, so I knew that straight away. Obviously, and it does come with the what I just talked about just now, the horns, which is, I don't know if you can see that, guys. It's got the nice horns on you, but you can still probably get your fingers in between and pull any dry paint off if you want. And obviously comes with the tiny needle tip as well, which is for the medium setup. So and that was one of the major reasons I purchased this airbrush, to be honest, guys, because it actually came with the fine and the medium needle setup. I really like that. I've noticed a lot of the Chinese brushes are doing that these days, but this obviously is a little bit finer than the Chinese airbrushes. So I think usually they do it from 2mm to a 3mm and a 5mm setup with the Chinese airbrushes, but these are a little bit finer. Another quite nice addition, which I haven't seen before from Badger. I think they've already done in the Renegade series. They've actually bound down to pressure and demands, and actually issued with a nice hose adapter. Obviously, what it is actually a the Badger female end for the Badger airbrushes, and the 1/8 male end for more so common airbrush hoses. So that's a really nice addition to the case. Really enjoy that. Now, just for some little niddly parts, it does baffle me why Badger haven't had the time just to cut out another hole for this. They've already cut out a hole for this, so, and they just stuck this in here. I just can't understand why they just couldn't punch out another hole for this to fit in nicely to go with the airbrush. And furthermore, obviously it comes with the extra set of needle. Why couldn't they just punch out, which I have done in the past for the other airbrushes, a section for this to fit in nicely? It just, for attention of detail, it just spoils it for me a little bit. And I have noticed that if I do pull my airbrush out a second and open this up, even though it's nice, as you can see, some certain sections have been cut away quite badly rather than punched out. Most of it is all punched out nicely, and this has looked like it's been hacked with a saw, which spoils the appearance a little bit. I know it's just the case, but when you pay something for this price, and usually with Badgers, with the airbrushes, is all down to quality. It just spoils it a little bit. So shame on them a bit. Shame on the QC who actually let that pass as well. I would have had a strong word with them. And furthermore, one tip for Ken from Badger, if he ever comes across this video, is for a fantastic airbrush like this, which is one you will pride and joy of your company, and it's one of the most popular, I would have thought, as in one of the top end airbrushes in the world. Other companies are doing it, aka a water, so why don't you do it as well? Ask any of your customers for about $3 to $4 more when you purchase something like this. I think all of them would say yes, I would be willing to pay for it. A little bottle of needle juice to lubricate your airbrush. In the UK, needle juice lubricant, which is the Badger's own make, for your airbrush, is practically really hard to get. it's not impossible, but it's really hard to get, and if you do get it, it's really expensive, really expensive. So sadly I've had to revert to some iWater Super Lube instead. So I'm actually using iWater Super Lube to lubricate my Badger's airbrushes. It would have been a nice addition. There's a nice space there for it as well. Anyway, even if it's a half, a small bottle of this, half the size of this, just to put that in with an airbrush of this standard, it just baffles me why Ken from Badger haven't thought of that, just to save him a little few bucks. But I would have thought somebody purchasing an airbrush like this would be more than happy just to pay that extra $2 to $3 just for a little bit of needle juice lubricant. Yeah. So that's my little review, a little rant over. I'm going to put this baby through the tests. I'm going to do a little quick test. I'm going to mix up some paint, and I'm going to see how fine of detail we can get out of this baby, and I'm going to compare it with my my superfine Badger Salt Art 2020, which is supposed to be doing one of the finest details, and my good old trusted faithful, never lets me down, my 20-year-old Badger 100G, which, as I just said, I've had this for 20 years. Never replaced the needle, never replaced the tip. As long as you look after them right, they'll last you a lifetime. So as you can see, beautiful, lovely smooth action on this, and this has been with me since I first started airbrushing. A lot of airbrushes have come and gone in the past. I've always kept this one just in case I needed to start back up, and believe it or not, it was the case with models rather than motorbike helmets or motorbike tanks. So this has seen me through a lot of days. I sprayed nearly every crap I can think of in this airbrush, and it still works absolutely perfect. So we're going to put these three babies to the test, and we're going to see what the results are.